honestly, I'm not a drama farmer, but then I saw everyone drama farming on Marvel Rivals, and I was like, let me make some money too, bro. Let me get some viewership too. Loki, this is my chance. I was always thinking, you know, when people like get canceled and then they pop off on views, well, they stay relevant by getting in drama. Like, let me farm for once in my freaking 6 years of content creation.
You know that fake energy vibe when somebody grins in your face but switches up the second the door closes? That is the exact energy Kingsman just put on blast with Cece, and this time it was not rumors or whispers. He pulled up with receipts, real receipts, screenshots, full Discord logs, timestamps, private DMs that tell a completely different story from the polished version people were fed online. What started as a messy Marvel Rivals tournament disagreement spiraled into a live demolition of someone's credibility. This thing escalated fast. Cece went from trying to steer the narrative to getting caught contradicting herself again and again. Once the documents dropped, the internet did not hesitate for 1 second. The reaction was immediate. We have seen enough. And the fallout came just as fast. Sponsors started stepping back quietly at first, then publicly. In less than 48 hours, multiple deals disappeared. No guesswork, no reaching. The timeline speaks loud and clear. If you missed how this started, here is the breakdown. Kingsman got removed from a $40,000 Marvel Rivals tournament after being labeled toxic. That word spread like wildfire. Instead of crashing out, he responded with receipts of his own. Clips, messages, context. The footage showed him telling teammates to lock in and take the match seriously. No insults, no threats, no wild behavior, just competitive talk in a high-stakes game. After that, Cece and a few others dropped public statements. Apologies went up. Accountability was mentioned. Most people thought that was the end. Quiet resolution. Everyone moves forward. But behind the curtain, the tone was completely different. While Cece was posting apology threads and presenting herself as misunderstood, she was privately messaging Kingsman in a whole different energy. Supportive and D-Miz agreeable, almost friendly. That contrast is where everything cracked.
I think Kingsman's a loser. I think he's a good player who just wants to win. I said that because Kingsman was being a loser. You just criticized and demoralized my teammate for an hour, repeatedly ignoring our mentions to stop. Like, that's loser behavior.
Kingsman decided he was done protecting anyone's image. He released the full document, and the moment people opened it, the narrative flipped. The Discord screenshots immediately challenged the public story. In those messages, someone Kingsman believes is Cece, based on context and past conversations, was allegedly messaging Z's boyfriend Cap. The message pushed the idea of using an alternate account to clip content anonymously. That detail alone changed everything. Then it got worse. One message stood out instantly. Download clips if there's anything that can help us get him kicked off the team. That line hit hard. Because now, this was not about one bad game or a misunderstanding. This looked like strategy, planning. Screenshots showed people discussing compiling footage, not to resolve tension, not to talk it out, but to build a case to remove him. And the tone? Cold. Kingsman, like everybody else, is replaceable. That line rubbed people the wrong way immediately. Kingsman was one of their strongest players. Calling your top performer disposable while benefiting from his skill is not a good look at all. Then they tried to frame him as someone only playing for the money, as if that was some moral failure. This was a $40,000 tournament. The goal is to win the prize pool. That is literally the point. And he was open about needing the money for school expenses. That is not greed. That is real life. Publicly, Cece said she had nothing to do with him getting removed. Privately, the screenshots suggest something else. People in that circle were justifying the decision after the fact. Cece never clearly shut that down. Instead, she distanced herself in public while staying involved behind the scenes. After Kingsman posted his first video explaining everything, Cece slid into his DMs, and that is where the contrast became impossible to ignore. Her tone was not apologetic, it was demanding. She told him to handle the so-called NPCs in her Discord and across social media. Not asked, told. Kingsman responded calmly. He explained he had already told viewers multiple times not to harass anyone. He even offered to ban specific Twitch usernames himself if she provided them. That was measured. That was reasonable. Then came the message that really raised eyebrows. She said people think she is responsible for banning him. Then added, "All I said was, I agree with Baim. He was going to boot you anyway, no matter what I did." That statement did not help her case at all. If someone was getting removed, no matter what, agreeing with it still means you support the decision. She could have said she disagreed. She could have said she tried to stop it. Instead, she admitted she co-signed it. And once those screenshots hit the timeline, people connected the dots quickly. That is when the tone shifted again. Now, it turned into guilt pressure. Cece messaged Kingsman saying she wished he had asked for clarification before posting what she called that God-forsaken video. She added that she was dealing with panic attacks and mass banning people across multiple platforms. Then came the real pressure point. She told him to make another post or delete the video if he truly cared. That moment changed how a lot of viewers saw the situation. Instead of directly addressing the screenshots, she leaned into emotional leverage. Mental health was brought into the conversation, not just as context, but in a way that felt tied to the outcome. The implication was heavy. If he did not take it down, he was adding to her distress. And that did not sit right with many people. Here is the reality, and this part matters. Anxiety and panic attacks are real. They deserve to be taken seriously, but they do not erase accountability. They do not justify attempts to silence someone who is sharing documented proof. You can acknowledge mental health and still expect responsibility at the same time. That is why this situation exploded the way it did. It was not just about a tournament slot, it was about the gap between public statements and private actions. Once that gap was exposed, the trust cracked wide open. They do not explain telling two completely different stories in public and in private. In the same messages where she brought up panic attacks, she was still coming off hostile and demanding. That contradiction made the mental health angle feel calculated instead of heartfelt. Kingsman did not bend. He told her straight up the VOD was staying up. He made it clear nothing was clipped out of context, and he was not deleting evidence just to make things easier for her. That response seemed to flip a switch. After that, Cece accused him of throwing her under the bus for views. She said his own behavior got him removed and that he just could not accept it. Then she escalated again, claiming he had been harassing Za for an extended period and upsetting her. She said that after being told to stop, the harassment allegedly multiplied back onto her. That accusation became another flashpoint instantly. Viewers ran back to the clips. What they saw? Kingsman asking a teammate to switch characters during a competitive match in Marvel Rivals. No name-calling, no personal attacks. Just in-game communication focused on strategy and competitive esports. That is normal. That is how serious teams operate when money is on the line. The irony was loud. After Kingsman got removed, the team's performance dipped, losses stacked up, and suddenly the player labeled as the problem looked more like the missing piece. Let's bring it back to reality for a second. If asking a teammate to swap off Black Widow for a better team composition counts as harassment, then competitive gaming is cooked. Shot calling is not bullying. Strategy is not abuse. That is literally how coordinated teams function, especially in high-stakes tournaments. What really made people pause was Cece saying she was now receiving harassment 10 times worse than what Kingsman faced. That comparison did not sit right with a lot of viewers. Kingsman lost his spot in a major tournament. He was publicly branded toxic. His reputation took a hit in front of thousands. In esports spaces, that kind of label sticks hard. Cece was facing backlash because her own private messages became public. Those are two very different situations. At some point, it stopped looking like someone overwhelmed and started looking like someone upset that the narrative slipped out of her control. Once people connected the dots, the energy shifted again. After the DMs, the pressure, and the attempts to get the video removed, Cece posted a public statement. She said she was in class when she saw everything unfold and wanted to clear things up. She claimed the DMs involving Kaplan were not her. She admitted to flaming Kingsman, but said she had been trying to apologize since that night. The problem? The internet does not just accept statements without proof anymore. Community notes reacted fast. People zoomed into the Discord screenshots, comparing profile pictures, badges, timestamps, and user markers. Details that are hard to fake and even harder to explain away. The evidence did not align with her denial. And once that happened, the story started collapsing in real time. After that, she tried a familiar move. She said she just wanted to move on and asked people to stop framing continued discussion as bullying. But accountability does not work like that. You cannot attack someone, deny it, get exposed, and then decide the conversation is over because it feels uncomfortable. Sponsors were watching all of this unfold, and they moved quickly. Within roughly 48 hours, partnerships started disappearing. Solaris Gaming released a statement saying they were informed about the situation and decided to remove her from their creator program. Shortly after, Infinity Mice followed with their own statement, saying they do not support behavior that targets or disrespects other creators. At that point, the consequences were no longer online chatter. They were real. And when companies react that fast, it is not about people being sensitive. It is about risk management. Brands do not walk away unless staying would damage them more than cutting ties. The optics were impossible to ignore. Then things got even worse. An older clip resurfaced where Cece openly talked about how drama and cancellations boost engagement.
I do it at wrong times, I do admit. But in regards to me telling him to shut the f up, that is the only thing I think I am 100% justified in, because Zaza said, "You're making me feel like sh."
She explained how controversy keeps people relevant and drives growth. A lot of viewers did not see that as harmless commentary. To them, it sounded like someone who understood outrage cycles and was willing to lean into them if it benefited her. It completely backfired. She got attention, but not the kind that builds longevity. Instead of growth, she got scrutiny. Instead of sympathy, she got receipts resurfacing. Instead of staying relevant in a positive way, she became an example people pointed to when talking about self-sabotage. Meanwhile, Lucy, the teammate who told Kingsman to shut up mid-match, doubled down publicly. She said her behavior was valid and showed zero interest in walking it back. That stance only fueled more tension. Then leaked DMs between Lucy and Kingsman surfaced. In those messages, she tried to apologize while also insisting he had done things wrong. It felt like a half apology. No full ownership, no clear accountability, just enough regret to soften the image without fully taking responsibility. As for Za and her boyfriend Kaplan, both accounts went private as the backlash intensified. Za later posted a long statement claiming she had no knowledge of the Google Doc Kaplan allegedly created. She said she was not involved and did not know what was written. The issue? There is existing stream footage where she talks about Kaplan working on a document and gathering evidence. That clip made it difficult for people to accept her explanation without questions. And once again, the same pattern repeated. One version told publicly, another suggested by clips and messages. By this point, trust was already drained. When that happens online, rebuilding it is almost impossible. Zoom out and look at everything together. The timelines clash. The statements contradict the messages. The explanations shift depending on what gets exposed next. That is why so many people stopped giving the benefit of the doubt. It stopped looking messy and started looking intentional. And here is the twist nobody can ignore. In the end, Kingsman came out stronger. His Twitch channel passed 20,000 subscribers. Support doubled. People who had never watched him before showed up because they respected how he handled the situation. Instead of getting buried, he gained momentum. Instead of losing credibility, he gained trust. Cece lost sponsors, got hit with non-stop community notes, and became a real-time example of what happens when public and private behavior do not match. She wanted to appear like the victim publicly while staying aggressive behind the scenes. That disconnect is what really did the damage. It was not just about a Black Widow pick. It was not about a single tournament. Competitive teammates argue all the time. This situation was about how far someone was willing to go to damage another player's reputation and how quickly the tone switched once the receipts dropped. Is her career finished forever? Probably not. Internet careers rarely end in a straight line, but recovery will not come from vague move-on posts or emotional appeals. It will take consistent accountability and time. And even then, some reputational hits do not fully reset. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Cece deserved to lose her sponsors, or did the backlash go too far? Drop your thoughts down below. If you made it this far, make sure you like, subscribe, share this video, and drop your comments down below. I will catch you on the next one.